Hey, Abilene, it's your top 3 agenda items for the City Council meeting on December 19th, 2024. Here's what I think you need to know. Number 3, it's the latest board appointments back on the top 3 list, but it's for different reasons than you might think. This seems to be a new trend that I want to make sure you know about so that you can watch out for those community members who are faithfully serving on our boards. They used to pass this on the consent agenda with never mentioning a person's name, but now it's an actual regular agenda item. While it happens at the end of the meeting, it's still happening and they're still acknowledging those community members who are willing to serve us through these board appointments. So I'll take that win and let's see who's now being reappointed to the board. There are 3 members being reappointed to the Development Corporation of Abilene Board: Floyd Miller, Tracy Howell, and Shay Hall. Number 2 is a combination of several items on the agenda. They are street maintenance fund projects. Many people are actually concerned about what the city is actually doing with the funds to repair our streets. And so I thought one way that would be helpful would be to point out times when the city uses funds from the street maintenance fund to repair different projects so that you could start to see where the money is actually going. And the first item on the consent agenda is a street called Glen Abbey, and they're going to do a storm sewer repair because of a failed pipe. Now, some of the funding is coming from the stormwater funds, but there's actually $81,355.50 being used from the street maintenance fund to repair the street after they've done the work and fix the curb and the gutter. So now the second item that the city is going to be using street maintenance general funds on is for fire station number 6, concrete driveway. And so they mentioned earlier this summer that the driveway was in catastrophic condition and needed to be fixed. And so they're actually going to spend $64,430 on concrete and then actually use the street maintenance employees to repair the driveway, which will probably save the city some money. What's interesting about this is because this is considered necessary to preserve and protect the public health and safety of the city residents, they didn't have to bid on this concrete. And so the number 1 item at this week's council meeting is actually 2 items combined, but it is also being decided through the consent agenda and not the regular agenda. It's Storybook Gardens 2. Okay, the Storybook Gardens 2 has actually been in the works for several months now, and this is kind of the end of the line where they come to the agreement and then one party, the Abilene Cultural Affairs Council, moves forward to work on preparing the Storybook Gardens so it can be ready for the June 2025 CAF sculpture reveal and festivities. And so basically, I want you to understand a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU, is used to clarify roles and responsibilities and objectives, acknowledge potential outcomes and processes, indicate a commitment to work together in good faith, and document expectations and intentions. And so there's actually in the agenda packet, you can see there's about 15 items that they've agreed upon, it looks like, to work together moving forward. The Abilene Cultural Affairs Council is going to be doing the work, and the city has donated the land. And so I think this is important for us to understand because these things don't happen at the council meeting. They've been happening for months and months, sometimes years in advance. And so as we start to pay attention more and more, we can begin to be a part of the process and see how it comes together and know when we're supposed to speak up or talk to people about different things to make sure that things are going in the direction that we as citizens desire for our city. Now, the last item on the top 3 for this upcoming council meeting agenda is the storybook sculpture newest edition, Matt Phelan's Plum the Peacock, and it will be ready to go for the June 2025 CAF Festival, or the Children Arts and Literature Festival that the city is proud to host every summer. Now, you might wonder, why is this even an issue and why should I pay attention? Well, it's because the process that the city does sometimes causes more trouble and controversy than necessary. Last year, there was some disagreement on the unity of the sculpture that was placed in the garden for our community. And to my understanding, the controversy was frustrating to many people. And so they're trying to prevent that from happening again. Unfortunately, it seems like the way they're doing that is by quietly passing it through the consent agenda and not giving the public a chance to really address or have opportunity to comment or hear discussion about this particular item. And why that's troubling, or why it should trouble you, is because we've heard that the city wants to be transparent and they want to hear from us and hear our voices, and our voices matter. But when they do things like this and pass an item that you won't even know anything about it unless I told you about it, it doesn't really seem to communicate the transparency and the significance of our voices being heard. through this action. So while this one is a great sculpture, it seems like the lessons are not being learned on how to best handle issues that matter to people in the city. And one of the best ways to do it is bring it into the light and let people have the opportunity to discuss it and not put it on an item that's passed along with a group of other items. So I hope that the city will choose to do better and the mayor will choose to prioritize different items on the agenda differently. But this is something I think will help you understand how things work and why you need to pay attention to what is going on so that you can be in the know. Now that you know the top 3 items for this upcoming council meeting this week, you're ready to go to the city council meeting Thursday, December 19th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. If you can't join me in person, then make sure you go and watch online. Make sure you're educated, informed, and empowered to make an impact in Abilene and the Big Country.